Hi everyone, my name is Patricia Sikobe, the founder and CEO of Pawami Health. And to launch our podcast, we'll be celebrating that for the month of June. And today, this year's themes for Father's Day is nurturing resilience and shaping futures. And to start off on this podcast or video, I had a very special friend who's also a father. We've known each other for more than 17 years. And I am happy he will be the first guest as we start the Pawami Health. So, Martin, let him introduce himself.
Thank you. So my name is Martin Deure. I'm an entrepreneur, an employee, an employer, a friend,
Yes.
a partner, and most importantly, I'm a father. And I'm so happy to be here, to be a guest today, and to be the first guest. So,
You're welcome. Martin, finally. We are on the top. Let's sit. Let's keep.
yeah, just on the corner. At the corner.
Years later.
Hey, it's over a decade, right?
It's
No, it's actually like around 15 years.
15.
Yes.
Yes,
That's long.
15. Okay, we've seen each other grow.
Yes.
A friendship of more than 15 years. How do you feel about it?
It's actually quite nice, being able to keep in touch. We've had friends who've met even, let's say, even longer than 15 years. But then again, there are a couple of friends who've been with over 15 years and you're still friends.
Yes.
And also seeing each other grow.
Yeah.
I think that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw you as a very small girl. And you saw me as a very young boy.
Yes.
It's quite nice to see each other.
Yes, I am happy that we maintain this friendship despite the challenges that were there. But anyway, the good thing is Nakuru, Nairobi, also Nakuru to see that maintaining the distance relationship was a bit tough, but you survived the highs and the lows.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, we are talking about Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
This year's thing is about nurturing resilience and shaping futures from a dad's perspective. So what does Father's Day mean to you?
Father's Day for me means quite a lot. Some of it could be celebrating myself as a dad and my accomplishments as a father. That is, I mean, it's something to celebrate. Then again, Father's Day is also something that also brings your loved ones to celebrate you as a father, and your loved ones also, maybe your children or maybe your partner. And I mean, if that, you can also celebrate yourself as a father. So it's quite like for us, for dads or for men in general, we don't have days to celebrate.
Yes, we don't have.
So if we get Father's Day, we are really happy to have that to celebrate. Yeah.
Good. So what are the three values you wish to pass to your kids?
Values will be, maybe not to call them, let's say, one word for each, but I'd say leadership, problem solving, and loving. Yeah, that's some of the values. There are quite a lot. That, let's say, I want to. There are more than three, but those will be the main one, because then again, leadership, it would mean when you have a child, it means you are a leader. They look at you as a leader, so they look up to you actually. So I'd say leadership, loving is, being a father. You really need for you to maybe provide, protect, and give, let's say, to someone that just came from as your offspring. You really need to love them, and just being also like great role models to the people around you.
Yes, because children really copy what they see.
Yeah. Quite a lot, actually. Quite a lot.
Yes.
And especially from a father's perspective, you'll notice, like for me, my sons, they actually look at how I act, how I talk, how I laugh, and how I do everything. So yeah, they do actually look at that. Yeah.
Good. So how did you feel when you found out that you're going to be a dad the first time?
Um.
First, what was your where were you mentally? Where were you physically? Did you feel like it's a new territory, uncharted waters?
Yes, actually yes, because I mean, knowing that there's actually someone, a whole being that is coming into this world, and the being is actually very helpless, and if actually you're the one who's responsible for bringing it, then you are in this situation where you actually need to be a very anxious situation, because you have to provide for this being, love this being, and actually just take care of it. And there's quite a lot that will change even about you, because you already know that this being will look up to you and also depend on you. So you really have to tread carefully, yeah, than what you were, how you were before. So because of such, you find yourself in a situation where you actually don't know if you'll be able to, because then again, it's quite a large responsibility. Yes. And the complexity of it will give you so much anxiety. Yeah, but above all, um, if let's say there's a situation where you are going to reach a job, be like, oh, I actually love this situation, because then again, these are a being that is going to love me, and I'm going to love him or her. So it's also encouraging, but anxious, gentle anxiety at the same time. Yeah. So it's more of like, because there's no manual, there's no book written. This is how you're supposed to do. Yes. There is none. There is no like template of a fatherhood template. Mhm. I hear, of course, a lot of advising, but then again, remember, there are factors like, let's say, demographics, environmental, how you are raised, how this child, the environment you bring the child in. So there's no straight way of this how you're supposed to. Yeah, there's no. Usually there's no straight way. you just figure everything out. Yes. And then also you want your journey to be different from the rest. You listen to the advice, yes, but yes, the plan is yours. Yeah, then there's yours, and then there's what you want, maybe what you wish for your child to follow. Okay. Or rather be. Yes, I have known you to be a man of different facets. I've seen you doing entrepreneurship, and I'll ask, how do you manage being a present dad when you're saying so? It's quite tough to say. I think when we speak about men's mental health, I think that's the larger, let's say, fact about maybe affect, rather that's the larger part of affecting one's health. Because then again, you want to provide, some of the values for you as a father. Of course, provision is like one of the topmost. Yes. And of course, spending time. But then again, these two these two situations actually pull each other apart. Yeah, because you need to spend time looking for money, or let's say working, but then again, you also need to be there for your children or for your child, in every way, emotionally and of course physically. So it's quite difficult, but we try to just ensure that anytime you get just maybe just a small win from, let's say, from your schedules, you just ensure that you try and give some time to the child, to just try and understand the child. Yeah. So, do you believe in the work-life balance? Work-life balance? Whoever brought that, I don't know what they mean, because there is no balance. Okay. There's no balance. Yeah, it's quite hard. Yeah. Totally. It's just about navigating through and trying your best. Yes. And also, as we are speaking about your entrepreneur, in what ways has being a father shaped how you lead in your relationship? Yes, it has. And actually, to say it has helped, in how I'm leading my business, because when you have a business, I can remember like my high school principal used to tell us, the follower is as good as a leader. It's supposed to be vice versa, but he used to say the follower is as good as the leader. that means that the people at your workplace will actually will actually be like you. They work like you. They take your direction, your principles, and everything else. And remember, that's the same thing for, let's say, our children. They have to take, let's say, they actually depend so much on your principles and on your values for them to better themselves as human beings as they grow. Yeah. So at the workplace, the same way. Even let's say for myself, I have very young people in my workplace, and one of the main things that I do is try to mentor them, not only as my employees but as individuals, through their careers, as they work. Maybe as maybe depending also on their output, so that they can just be better at what they do, which is very similar to what I'm doing with my children. So those two, being a leader at home as a father, helps me be a leader as a big brother to my employees. Yeah, so I can say it helps, and it has married. Yeah, yeah. If you do it well, it's going to go to work out well. Yeah. Okay. Good. It's inspirational, and also as just almost winding up. So beyond being a provider and a protector, what do you believe your role is as a mother? Beyond being a provider and a protector. Um, so okay, there's also the leadership part. You mentioned provider and a protector, but I think also leadership falls under the same umbrella. But then again, just being a good example to your children. Being a good a mentor. When we started, we said children actually look up to what you do and how you act. Um, like for example, the other day I was at the supermarket and I was looking at things down below, and I was watching, trying to look at things, and my kids were just how they also spotted to just look at the same way that I was doing. So being a mentor, but beyond being a father, there's also being a great example to also society. Yeah. Because being a father doesn't just mean fathering your children. It also means there's always someone who's looking at you, or rather at you. There's even, let's say, your children's friends who are like, "Oh, you're daddy, you're daddy." Yeah. So also being a better man in society helps also the communities at large, and also you could also like for example in terms of, let's say, my entrepreneur, I also have this part where we actually engage, even let's say, with to provide for needy children, and that's also kind of being a father, as opposed to just being a provider and a protector for my family. Sometimes, let's say, it would be nice to also be a mentor or even a provider and a protector to someone who's less fortunate. And also, yeah, just being also yourself, good to yourself, so that you're able to because you if you don't treat yourself well as well, yeah, you won't be a good father to, let's say, your children or maybe to society. So even being a good person to yourself is also helps you not only being a provider protector, but also just being healthy. It also affects your family in some way, and leading life the right way. Yeah. That's good. There's something I wanted to add there, but after so what's the one thing you wish more people understood about mental health for someone? Um, what do you wish we understood? Yeah, when you say female gender. That's I know. When you say sex and sex direct. So ask the female gender. So what do you feel we should know or we should? Um, when you're talking about a father, let's say a dad, because fathering is for everyone. Yes. Wow. Dad is actually, you don't have happy dads. Don't have happy dads. Yeah, but when you are in a position of being a father and being a dad, you actually you are put in a certain pedestal. And when you're in a pedestal, you actually people expect so much from you. Yeah. It can drain you, because then again you can't fail people. It's like being people say a child's first superhero is their father. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So being placed in this pedestal can really drain you, because then again, the room to make mistakes is quite narrow. Yes. it's quite now. So you're in this situation where like you can imagine it, if let's say a character like let's say a superhero like let's say Superman or Batman. If the moment we've seen in movies, those people leave the cities in chaos. Yes. Not that let's say whoever has been left behind can't manage, but then again, that person has been placed in a pedestal where he really should can't fail. But men are also human beings that you are going to be open to mistakes. There's no template for fatherhood, so you're going or for being a dad, so you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and they're going to drain you as well because then again you are in this corner where you don't want to seem weak, but you are actually weak in person, just normal as anyone else would be. So first I'd like to advise let's say women to know that men are going to let's say there are situations where you are going to fail not because of your own self but because of how external factors are. Sometimes it's not internal factors. Sometimes it's external factors. Like let's say you've lost a job. Now you can't even provide for the family like you used to. Yeah. You can imagine how that will drain you as a man. You seeing yourself not being able to provide like you used to or like you want to, even let's say from at that point and even in the future. So um, uh, um, let's say women, rather mothers, should understand that these situations are going to be, they're going to exist, and it doesn't make men weak. It just makes them human. So at those situations always during those situations always be in a position to actually maybe hold or rather yeah or maybe have just give the man give great space to actually for them to actually just pick up their mind and maybe if it's a situation they will be able rather to navigate if they know that whoever is they are providing for has actually understood that they've not they're in a situation that they are not true or they're in a bad situation at that point and maybe they are going to work through that. Yes, but not that. Oh, you're a man, and the trouble when you after cars, those precious. Useless. Yeah, useless. You're not able to provide for us. But it's a pressuring situation. And actually, dads out there should just understand that they are human and they make mistakes. My only advice would be for dads, and I'm not saying as the perfect dad. I'm just saying the best way I navigate such situations is don't get fixated because if a situation ever happens, the biggest problem that situation is not usually the problem. It's how you react to that situation. That is what is going to determine your mental health. Not that it's bad, it's the wrong thing to actually get sad or maybe go into a bad mental state, but just staying and getting fixated into what is keeping you there is the bigger problem. Yeah, like for example, a situation like for example there's like for example for myself, there's a situation where I lost my job like around 2 years ago. I'm not no, around 3 years ago. So I have myself and I have, let's say, a friend of mine. For me, one of the values that I actually have is I don't like say staying in a situation. I just like moving onwards. But like for example, for my friend, he stayed to get sad about that situation. So he's there. Yeah, so yeah, and now what happens is you start thinking. Yes. You start thinking. So the best way to come out of that bad mental state is actually just try and move on, even if it's an inch by an inch. As long as you try and move on, you are going to get past that. Okay. Yeah. All right. One more question. Do you believe a man or guys or boys should be vulnerable? Do you believe in vulnerability? Depending on who you're sharing this to. Is it your best friend? Is it your partner? I'd say, okay, that's a tough question because I'd say yes and no. As much as, especially in the new society, we're advised as men to be vulnerable. Yeah. Then again, you've mentioned depending on whom. Yes. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's dependent. Yes and no. It depends on who you're being vulnerable to. Because there are, let's say, people that are going to judge you and there are people who are going to help you through. even let's say your partner, there are some that are going to judge you because maybe you've in this situation and then again you've broken down and cry and now you look like a weak man. So it's really dependent on to who. Then again, there are people who, if you're vulnerable to, they actually take vulnerability, or rather, they're going to feel worse about the situation. Let's say, for example, you're a father, you are lady, or rather, your wife or your partner is the type to get too worried. Now you will be in a situation where if I tell her I've actually lost my job, she's going to go into much more pressure than so you don't want to be vulnerable because you actually realize the person that you're getting vulnerable to might even go to a worse situation that you are. So you would rather just sit down with. Sometimes it's not even about being judged. Sometimes it's just protecting. It's like being a leader. It's like being like a president. If a president stands there and says, "Oh, the country is broke. Oh, the whole country is going to chaos." Yes. You get so it would rather be a situation where in some situation you'd rather just not be vulnerable. But then again, if you feel like the vulnerability or the situation is a bit too much, it would be best to talk to a person, or rather maybe a specialist or maybe a person that you really trust, because we've seen men who've actually taken their lives, and that's very sad. And sometimes it's because of this situation where you don't want to be vulnerable, or maybe the person that you will be vulnerable to maybe is the type that will rather will think even more once they hear maybe the situation. Maybe you've lost someone, maybe they even cry more than you cry. Yes. Yeah. It's not always being about maybe money. It could be lost. It could just be maybe traumatic experiences. But the best approach will be you're the type to that this is actually draining your mental health. The best situation is to talk to a specialist or maybe talk to someone that you trust, because then again we don't want to lose men because of situations where they've taken their lives, or maybe they've gotten into drugs. There's many ways that men actually try to cover vulnerability with, and death being the worst. Not that anything is better, but always be in a position where you have someone to talk to, and a specialist will also really help. Yeah. Nice. Uh, okay. So quick fire questions as we wrap it up. So do you feel, I'm sorry, not quick fire, but do you feel you are using some of the skills or something you saw your dad do now to your sons or to your kids? Are you getting some are you getting some tips? Yes. I'd say I put a big yes in that. My father really shaped the kind of man that I am. Um, in terms of, let's say, he was a very loving man that loved his children. Oh, my father passed on. Actually, his memorial is next month at the same, almost the same date. July. Yeah, July. So we are going to Nakuru. Yes. Nakuru is Nyahururu. No, actually, it's in Nyeri. Nyeri. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he really shaped the man that I am, in terms of, let's say, how I think, how I solve problems, in terms of how I learn, and in terms of how I love my children. He really shaped that, because my father actually really loved his children, and like, for example, for my brother, I can actually see the love he also has for his children. I can see the similarity from him. He got that, a lot of that from my father as well, and from me as well. And he really shaped us in terms of loving, problem solving, and just being respectful, of course, to our mother, and also being kind to even people, and just being a great man in society. So general, I believe. Yes, to extend. Yes, he really did. Yeah. And I really admired that for him, and actually appreciate that. And it's a situation, let's say, that sometimes people don't get to experience. So maybe that's why sometimes men gather together to just maybe help each other think through how to be a father and how to be great men as well. So sometimes you might not get it from, let's say, your father. Sometimes you might get it from an uncle, maybe fellow men. Yeah, fellow men. Yes, yes. So it's quite encouraging for also men to sit together. Once you sit with men, you actually get something. So we should not be afraid. Yeah? It's the boys. Yeah. Boys, they out to go. Hey, are you sure you're coming? Men need that. Yeah, men need that. And I can say it helps me a lot. I have hang out with friends as well. Yeah, it helps me. Yes. Sometimes even if once you hear another man go through the same problem as you are, see me with you actually realize, oh, I'm not alone. So you're now able to sit and say, oh, how are we going to navigate this now? Yes. Yeah, so yeah, sitting with fellow men also helps, yeah. Good. Yeah. Great. So what is the best advice you've ever received? The best advice I'd say from my father is to first to never regret. Yeah, and my mother and my sister actually wonders that about me. That I can actually even start a business and it goes down, and I won't actually regret for losing anything. So how regret has helped me is, like I said, being able to move on past things or past issues. My father was that type to, once you made a mistake, he's like, yeah, the mistake has already happened. So he said that, so once I finish punishing you, now you really need to understand how to move forward, not to dwell on whatever that has happened. So, and men also need to understand that you don't need to regret, because regret leads to you beating down yourself and actually just feeling sad about things that are past. The best way is to now move on and see how that will be repeated and how you're going to better yourself the next time or do things better. So yeah, I think I like that. So what is the worst that has not helped you? Uh, the worst that has not helped me. You tried, but it's not working out. Even if I try it once or twice. I'm not experienced that yet, or maybe I'm not hard enough about that. But I'm sure there is one somewhere. Yeah. What is one thing people don't know about you? The one thing people don't know about me. Okay, I think you know that I'm a very good artist. Yes. Wow. The graffiti. I'm a very good dancer. What would be within me? I think people know everything about me. Everyone has killer kids. Not everyone, but the people around me. Yes, the people around you know. Yeah, I'm quite an open book. Okay. If you sit with me, I'm actually going to speak my mind, speak my experiences, and that also helps me. Speaking my experiences helps me. If they are traumatic experiences, once we laugh, we laugh at them. I get past through it. So I think people know so much. Yeah. So as we end, what is your legacy? What do you plan to do? What is your legacy? What do you want to achieve by the time your time here on Earth is ticking? I think I'd say a good word from my children. I don't want my children to leave a legacy where my children can speak the same way I can speak about my father. Um, you know, I want them to also sit on a couch like this one and actually speak about Martin and speak nice things about me. So I think that would be important than anything else, than wealth, than um, you know, I mean, because I know that will be passed down down to generations. So if they speak well about me the same way I speak well about my father, their children speak well about them too, and that will also flow. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you so much, Martin, for gracing our couch. Pawami Health. Thank you for allowing me to interview you on this special day, Father's Day. I am lucky that our friendship has sustained the turbulence that you're here, and I hope we get to go to play dates.
our daughters and our sons
Amazing, amazing.
And also collaborations that we had talked about.
Yeah, we'll speak about that.
Yes.
This is a great platform to begin with. I think you rather first, and also I really appreciate the fact that you have such a sitting where actually men are able to maybe speak. That doesn't help a lot. We normally have a lot for mothers. Yes. That really helps the mothers. And it would also be nice to also realize that such sittings also help the dads as well. So I think on behalf of the fathers, I'd say thank you so much for actually having such a nice setup for us to speak, and for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, I think it chose me because I became a dad at a very young age.
Yes, and also friendship. Oh, okay. At least it would make me comfortable on my first interview.
Oh, this is the first one.
Yes, this is the first interview I'm doing. So
I'm in next one.
Yes, in next one. So I didn't want to be anxious. So yes. That's why it was like 17 years.
I hope to be index 1,000 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.